With the first pick in the 2015 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Welcome to the Sports Hit List. I'm your host, Carl Coulange, and joining me, Mike Miller. All right. Anthony.
What's going on, sir?
Second pick.
Yes, sir.
And Kenny down there. All right,
sir.
guys. NBA Draft. It's the end of the NBA season. It's time to start the season back up again with the draft. Minnesota Timberwolves have the first pick. Who do you take?
Given their team, because what this draft is coming down to, 1 and 2 is either going to be Okafor or Karl Anthony Towns. I think Minnesota would be best fit if they get Karl Anthony Towns because he's athletic, he could stretch the floor, and he would fit nicely with those wings of Andrew Wiggins and Zach LaVine. So I think they should go Karl Anthony Towns.
Anthony, before we get to your Lakers, the Timberwolves, who do they select? And I know the Lakers pick determines on what they take.
Yeah, and hopefully, if I was them at least, I would draft Okafor because the Lakers need Towns.
So
why
do
they're going
the
to draft
Lakers
based
need
on what the
Towns?
Lakers
Because
as opposed
Towns
to
is
Okafor?
because Towns is more athletic. I like his defensive ability. I believe he can. Actually, he's more of a scorer than people know. Mm-hmm. He's a shooter. He can face the basket, things like that. And I just think he's the better player.
So he's a jump shooter.
No. He can face the basket and he can make jump shots, but he will have his back to the basket once he gets on the
He's shooting
Lakers.
threes with you.
No, he will not.
Kenny, who do you think the Timberwolves take at number 1?
I think they probably take Towns. That's who I would take. And then the Lakers would probably take Russell. And then
They would take Russell.
yeah, and then
Okay.
the 76ers
I
take
like him.
Moonaday because they already got too many hurt bigs. And then I think Okafor probably falls to the Knicks, unfortunately, because I don't want another big because I have a theory about the big men these days. If they're not Anthony Davis, I don't think they're worth it in the first pick. So I'd rather go with a guard or wing, but I think they're all going to be taken by that time. So the Knicks are going to be in trouble again.
You could look at it as, well, the league is not built. It's guard heavy, so you don't need a big. Or you could say, well, I have a dominant big and nobody else has it.
Right.
So if I have this guy who's dominant, which is what people project Emeka Okafor, not Emeka Okafor, but Jahlil Okafor, he was a bum. They projected it with him too, but you see what happened to him. But if he reaches, for example, you take somebody like Greg Oden, before the injury, there was a projection that he could be. So regardless, everybody's waiting for that next great big. You think about all the three-peats, all the long championship runs, there was always a great big in the middle of that. You think about the Lakers, their three-peat with Shaq. You think about Hakeem and his back-to-back championships. They always had a big in the middle. So every GM is always starving for that next great big. So it's worth the risk. Guards you can find every year. Every year there's going to be a great guard.
Well, my opinion on it is like, if they don't change, if the basket is still 10 feet, then of course the closer you are to the basket, the easier it is.
That's a fact.
So to me, bigs will always have his place in the league. Right now, you do have your guard that, I guess you can say run the league or whatever the case may be, but when nowadays you really don't have that back to the basket big that can get you 30 or 25. Besides now we have Anthony Davis, we have DeMarcus Cousins, and a few other guys coming in the league
Blake
now.
Griffin.
So we're gonna see if that changes around now that there's really a real big man in the league, because everybody else is, everybody wants to face the basket now. Everybody wants to be Dirk Nowitzki and things like that. So
jump shoot,
so once it goes back to the basket, getting that paint, you big, you 7 foot. There's no reason for you to be shooting. The closer you are to the rim, the easier it should be.
Kenny?
The problem with that is that it goes back to the fundamentals of the youth where they're not being trained to play that way anymore.
I understand.
So the people that they're looking for don't exist anymore. Because when was the last dominant big? Like, if you look at the dominant bigs in the league today, none of them are really doing anything. DeMarcus Cousins on a losing team. Anthony Davis was a guard who had a growth spurt, so he's not even, you can't even put him in that category because he was trained as a guard. You know what I'm saying? And then Dwight Howard is a bum.
You still on that?
But we have Blake
that
Griffin.
Was last
we got
segment.
Blake Griffin.
I'm just saying.
We got Blake Griffin.
But he has a good jump
He's not
shot,
a
but he doesn't
center,
really
though.
have. He doesn't have a post game.
He does have a. He's not. He's
you
more.
know, he's athletically gifted, but he doesn't have like the traditional post game.
Okay, so in talking in terms of superstars, in the last few years, the draft has been, I would say overall, we haven't seen any superstars just yet. If you were to pick a name out of a hat, out of this draft class, to say that guy is going to be the next big superstar or that guy is going to be the next MVP, could you possibly do that right now?
I could.
Who?
I really like Jahlil Okafor's game. I think he's really going to bring back big men. I think he is going to be a legit center. Now, a lot of people complain about his free throw shooting. Wilt Chamberlain is the greatest player ever, and he had horrible free throw shooting. So when you dominate, that doesn't matter. Shaq had bad free throw shooting. But Jahlil Okafor is when he was talking about big man moves, Jahlil Okafor has a legit post game, legitimate. And now that we know all the centers want to hide at the three-point line, it's baby food for him down low. So it's easy for him. I think he's going to be a star.
Yes, I see two guys like that. The first guy, which I thought the Lakers would get the 4th round draft pick, and we would probably end up with him. D'Angelo Russell.
D'Angelo Russell, yeah.
I really like him. I haven't seen too much on him, but the highlights that I've seen in the low lights, that really doesn't take away from what he's done as far as his college career so far. Like I really like him. I think he can end up being like a Harden or somebody like that, like a really good scorer, and somebody who can maybe lead a team somewhere, or whatever the case. And my other guy was Towns. I like Towns a lot. I think people are sleeping on him. Not anymore, but I think at first people were sleeping on him.
They projected him to be number 2 or 1.
Yeah, now it's 1, but before it was, over his offensive game, because of how he was playing, and his role, not necessarily how he was playing, his role on his team.
Cool. It was questions about his motor, because in the NCAA tournament, there were games
he
where
runs the floor, like he gets there.
Kenny?
I'm thinking Moon Day, Emmanuel coming out of China, playing against Steph. Maybe you learn a thing or two. I think being a professional out there, he might have, put a leg up on the other guys as far as being professional, knowing what he needs, the hard work he has to put in, playing against other ex-NBA players. They might have given him some tips or advice and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think he has a lot to prove.
One question I always ask too in just discussion is the draft overrated? I mean, do these prospects get hyped up by scouts like, this guy's going to be great. Let's get him. And then they become being a bust. So my question is, how can you tell? How do you know if a guy is going to be great if he's not? Like, how do you project number 1 to number 8? And again, it goes back to the thing about Steph Curry's an MVP and he wasn't a top 5 pick. So how do you gauge that before the draft? Like, and how do you hype up players to be something that they end up not becoming?
Yeah, you got to. At the end of the day, it's all gambling. You have to take a chance. So when a player has a certain skill set that you value as a team, and you value that skill set high, you have to take the risk because the reward is so much greater than the risk. So, for example, we talk about Jahlil Okafor. If you take him number 1, you're projecting that he's a Hakeem Olajuwon or a Shaquille O'Neal, but you have to because you're essentially drafting the cornerstone of your franchise.
Yeah.
So it's all a risk, but somebody has to take it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel it's a risk, but to lower that risk, to lower the odds and that gamble, is to just have smart people knowing what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like the Lakers, we had a Jerry West who seen Kobe and was like, that guy's the greatest. He said that guy's going to be the greatest player ever. And things like that. Like, you need those people.
He was wrong.
And he wasn't.
Very wrong.
He wasn't.
Very
He
wrong.
wasn't, actually.
He must have been asleep during Michael Jordan's career.
Oh,
He was
boy.
very wrong.
Oh,
He
boy.
wasn't,
Here we go.
actually.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Because Kobe has a case.
To be what?
Yeah.
Better than Michael.
He had a rape case?
He did have that rape case. He did. Allegedly, he did it.
He
But
didn't have the ability Michael had.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
how
think
good.
about it though. If Kobe really did, he makes a good point that imagine Kobe wasn't traded, and he stayed with Charlotte.
Okay.
Do you think that GM is kicking himself now, saying, "Man, I should have kept
And
him"?
he wouldn't have even got drafted that high if it wasn't.
He went 13. It was
13. He was 13.
13.
He
Yeah.
wouldn't have got drafted that high if it wasn't for the Lakers, of course, putting it out there, and Kobe, of course, putting it out there that this is where he wanted to go. And
Cool.
so,
You think they listened to Kobe at 18?
huh?
You think
think
Jerry?
that?
You think
No, yes, because what
Kobe
he
said, "I want to go to the Lakers," and they was like, "Oh, we got this kid out of high school. We got to listen to him."
No, he said he wanted to go to the Lakers so other teams wouldn't draft him, just like how didn't Rubio do that for like a year, but it didn't work with him because they still drafted him anyway. He said he basically was telling people, if you draft me, I'm going to play overseas somewhere, whatever the case may be. So that's how they were trying to hinder people from drafting. And if he made it to 13,
He totally made that up.
it's highly reported.
He loves Kobe, ladies and
highly
gentlemen. Just
reported.
Okay,
and
kid,
I-
so
Somebody
back-
second that story.
It's not
Okay.
true.
Second that story.
no.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Second in that story.
I don't.
Anybody?
Google it.
I mean, he
Anybody?
had
Google
a
it.
he had a
Second
try
Google
he
it.
had a trial for the Celtics too. So
Google
that
it.
during that draft
Anyway,
camp, but
Yeah, go
but
ahead.
We're not
Kenny,
gonna
to
talk
answer
about
my
Kobe all
question,
night.
Right.
is the draft, and I know we've discussed this, is the draft overrated? Is it in terms of like
I mean,
like
you
people
could say,
hyping
you could
them
say that
up?
about any draft. I think they hype up players like Anthony Bennett went first a couple years ago, and he's terrible. You know, so sometimes it depends on the draft class. Some draft classes are so deep, like the 03 or 96 or
That was the worst draft
84,
class in NBA history. by the way.
Where,
Oh, three.
That was the worst draft in NBA history. Stop it.
where it's so deep, where people, you have,
Right.
it doesn't matter where you are, where you're picking, you're gonna get a good player.
Okay, final question to wrap it up. With the young talent on these top teams who have the draft pick, and now with another young talent coming to their team, which team has the quickest turnaround?
Well, the Knicks don't have any young talents.
You talk about out of the top, basically everybody picking out of the top 5?
Yeah, the top 5. Who has the quickest turnaround to make it back to the postseason based off the talent that they get?
Minnesota's terrible. The Lakers are terrible. Philly's terrible. The Knicks are terrible. And who's fifth? So none of them.
The Lakers are going to turn around the quickest.
You can't pick anyone.
Listen, no, because Jim Buss is still running that organization.
matter.
Well,
And so
look,
he's
think
not
of it
gonna
this
help.
way:
matter.
the Timberwolves will have the last 3 top first-round picks, number 1 picks overall, the last 3 on their team after this.
Well, 5
Draft.
years from now, maybe, but next year?
I mean,
No, not the last
I'm
three.
with Kenny.
It will,
I
yeah.
said-
Andrew Wiggins, Anthony Bennett's on their team, and then now the first one that they have. That's their last
Oh,
3.
no, you mean, I thought you meant pick, because I know the Cavs.
To
were
keep it
picking,
real,
like,
you saying who's going to have the
first.
best turnaround?
Yeah, the best turnaround, yeah.
Clearly the Knicks. They have Melo.
True.
None of the other 3 teams have any player at any caliber of Melo. So the
Well,
Knicks.
if the Lakers have Kobe.
Exactly.
Kobe, he's finished. Stop it.
Yeah, he's finished after this year, but he still has
finished.
more to prove.
He's gonna be finished by Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
He's gonna get hurt again.
He's
it's
finished.
gonna be a
He's
wrap.
finished. No,
So you
honestly, the Knicks.
The Knicks.
Melo, you have to do something. You waited on a rookie. You faked the injury. Well, allegedly, you got to do something, baby.
Anthony, well, you said Lakers, and
Lakers.
then you're
The
saying
Lakers.
not even your Knicks, you're not even giving hope to turn around
You're
quick?
saying with not including free agency,
Not including free agency, yeah.
because free agency is the only way they're gonna.
That's
turn
that's.
around.
Well,
That too.
well,
Marcus
the other
Aldridge.
option
Not
is
including.
do any of these teams trade away their pick?
I think the Knicks will because they're incompetent. That's just my feeling on them. They haven't done anything since the mid-90s.
So disappointed. Knicks fans, they're disappointed, man.
Do the Lakers trade away their pick? Is there anything?
course not.
There's nothing to trade away. No.
I think they should trade to the Knicks for Melo.
Yeah.
Get the number 2 and the number 4.
Kobe should just retire already.
That's another discussion for another day. Thank you
hilarious.
for watching the Sports Hit List. Please continue to support us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Thanks for watching. We really appreciate the support. Take care.